In this demo, we're going to look at Ambit's IAM for Agentic AI. We're going to use Ambit's MCP authorization service to pull in client and user context for policy decisions. We're also going to use Ambit's MCP identity gateway for centralized policy enforcement. Let's take a look at the end user experience before we look at the policy configuration. Okay, here we're in the settings for cloud.ai, and I have a connector configured. Now, this is one single connector for all my MCP services. So I'm going to go ahead and say connect. And when I say connect, this redirects me to the Ambit MCP authorization server. And this wants me to sign in using Okta. When I sign in with Okta, it's going to present the user context, user information to Ambit. So let's go ahead and sign into Okta. Okay, so the Azure MCP server is already authorized and ready to go, so there's nothing else I need to do. And it shows that I have access to another GitHub MCP server, but I'm not going to use that right now. So now let's return to the AI agent. Okay, great. So it's connected, and if I go here, you can see that I have access to my Azure tools, and I'm going to use one of these chat message tools to request information from the MCP server. So let's go do a new chat and say, please summarize my last chat with Colin V in Teams. So now it's going to go look at all the tools, and it wants to use the Azure MCP server chat message tool. I'm going to say allow once. You can say allow, but for demo purposes, I just say allow once. And now it's giving me a summary of the last message, which was last week. It was about a shiny hunter's rapid response. So you can see it went and it pulled in messages that I have access to from my Teams account, and it summarizes it. So everything's working correctly. So now let's go and look at the Ambit admin portal and see how this works. All right, now I'm in the Ambit admin portal. I'm going to access policies, and we'll just take a look at these and talk through these. So I'm going to do a quick search. This was the demo we were showing at RSA, so I know I can filter it out that way. So there's two policies that I'm going to be looking at. Here's the first one. And basically what the first one says is identify the client workload. And it's identifying the client workload using the redirect URI of Claude.ai. And it's going to the MCP gateway. If you remember, my connector was the MCP gateway. It's going to try to pull in information from the trust provider. In this case, the trust provider is our Okta account. And it's going to pull in a few different bits of information and use those to help with the next bit of the policy. The other part of this is there's a credential provider. So we create an access token. This is the access token that allows the AI agent to talk to the MCP server. So once we talk to the MCP server, the next bit is if the policy is correct and valid, it takes us to the next part. And the next part is this one. So we have a token that's needed from the access server. A token that's needed from the MCP gateway to the backend service. That's the Azure MCP service. And what that does is that takes a access token that Ambit generates and exchanges it for a MCP user-based authorization token that O365 will accept. We give that to our gateway, and then that gateway presents it to the Azure MCP server. So we go end to end from the AI agent to the gateway, and then from the gateway to the end service using an access token that gets exchanged for an O365 token. And you can see that the AI agent will talk to the gateway, and then the gateway can talk to several MCP servers, and depending on user context and client context, our blended identity will help the MCP gateway determine what tools and what MCP services to allow. And then, of course, in the logging, we can see exactly who's going to which service and so on. Thank you.